Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President of the Republic, Edith Season, Your Excellency, Mr. Kasam, past President, Mr. Excellency, our Chairman from the Pakistan High Commission, Mrs. Bimla Sultan from the Indian High Commission. Let's hope I won't forget all the personalities. Mr. Albendan, Ancient Vice President, Mr. Yefan Rahman from the Electoral Commission, I'm coming to that. Mrs. Dauriaro, Minister for Social Security, who has accepted to be among us this evening despite the fiery debates at the Legislative Assembly right now. Mr. Subir Jumai, who is here. Friends whom I've missed. Mr. Ludovic Lillis, the Director of NSC Partager. Mr. Asad Bagla himself, the author. Mr. Bashir Karimji, who is a vrai mécène, comme on dit. From? I'm really sorry for that because it's not in the paper that I've been given. I think we should be used to that by now. This is the ambassador from Egypt. Fortunately, we are our friends, and protocol comes a bit below the priorities, as you know. And now for the top, Mr. Kasam Balimabod from Rodrigues, to whom the hit is dedicated, in fact, for the contribution of Muslims to the economic development of Rodrigues. And now for the turn, Mrs. Nasreen Banu Asif, artist and painter, for the book cover. So, ladies and gentlemen, and friends and lovers of books, it is again with great pleasure to play the master of ceremony for the launching of the 11th book of our friend Asad Bagla, which title this time is Muslim Presence in Rodrigues. After so many books about the Muslim saga in Mauritius, as well as their religious rituals and culinary habits, and also their culture in general. This 11th book, Muslim Presence in Rodrigues, that relates the contribution of Muslims to the development of Rodrigues, was launched in Rodrigues some time ago under the aegis of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly with great success. We regret there's no member of the Regional Assembly from Rodrigues present tonight to reciprocate. That's what we've done there. Anyway, for this evening, as you may have guessed, we have already started with some 20 minutes late. Mr. Bagla has given a time frame to all the speeches that have to be made. If Mr. Kasamyutim is laughing, it is because he doesn't respect the time frame. You give him a mic, he believes that he is still the candidate for number 3. Anyway, among friends again, I will call on the first, the author himself, Mr. Assad Bagla to address you first. A big applause for the author.
Good evening, Assalamu alaikum. His Excellency, Mr. Edi Masizou, Vice President of the Republic of Mauritius, Honorable Fatida Dariao, Minister of Social Security, His Excellency, Mr. Kassam Yudin, former President of the Republic of Mauritius, Mr. Raoul Bandan, His Excellency Mr. Raoul Bandan, former Vice President of the Republic of Mauritius, His Excellency Mr. Arshad Jan, High Commissioner of Pakistan, His Excellency Mrs. Abdel Alam Eldin, Ambassador of Arab Republic of Egypt, Mrs. Vina Sudan from High Commission of India, Mr. Bashir Karimji, Dr. Zubair Junai, Mr. Ahmad Kamal and Mrs. Kamal, they are on the way, blocking the traffic jam. They are traveling all the way from Istanbul for this function. Mr. Irfan Rahman, Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Rafiq Karim, President of Juma Mosque, Mr. Salman King, President of Chinese Business Chamber, Mr. Kassam Bali Mahmoud, from Rodrigues, Mr. Ludovic Lazes, Director of Hennessy Park Hotel, my good friend Ambassador Siam Soberan, Mr. Pede Sales and Mrs. Sales, my wife, of course, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the Precious Smoke Library and the management of Hennessy Park Hotel for having made an excellent arrangement to host the launch of my book, Muslim Presence in Rodrigues. I would also thank all of you present here for having kindly responded to the invitation. I also recognize several Rodrigues families who have traveled all the way from Rodrigues to attend this session. My book is about the saga of pioneering families involved in the development and construction of Rodrigues. These early Muslim families could have opted to migrate to other destinations where the grass was greener, but they decided to implant in Rodrigues, despite numerous difficulties and handicaps encountered on the island. They loved Rodrigues, and they participated actively in contributing to the progress and well-being of the Rodriguans. My book is a tribute to these heroes. My book is a humble contribution of mine in giving exposure to Rodrigues to a larger audience in Mauritius and abroad. I hope this will help to attract more tourists to Rodrigues. I am not going to make a long speech on the contents of my book. I would encourage you to read it and keep a copy in your home library. The proceeds of the sale of this book will go to a charitable society in Rodrigues. In the end, let me thank all those who have directly and indirectly contributed to the realization of the book. There are many names which I have acknowledged in my book, but in particular, I would like to thank the veteran Mr. Kassam Bali, to whom I have dedicated this book, who have made an immense contribution with regard to inputs to the book. I am very glad to see Iqbal Dimbada in our midst after almost 3 decades. The last time I met him was in Bobassi in company of his late father, Ismail Ahmad Dimbada. He was the first Asian to be employed as civil engineer in the government establishment operations. At that time, I did not know that he grew up in Rodrigues. In 1948, he left Rodrigues and traveled to the newly independent Pakistan, where he was enrolled as civil engineer student at the NED Engineering College of the Karachi University, and completed his graduation in 1951. I was not born at the time. And as a matter of coincidence, several decades later, I would benefit a Commonwealth scholarship to do my master's in economics at the same university. My book is a fruit of teamwork. Though the writing is mine, I have been supported by a number of dedicated persons. The veteran Mr. Mumtaz Emri, who reviewed and edited all my scripts. The veteran Sam Sumudi, who did the proofreading. Nasrin Bano Asi, who painted the cover of this book. Azhar Musudi, for the layout and graphic design. The book has been printed by dynamic printing of Yusuf Osmani. But all these endeavors would not have been realized without the support of the Karimji G1G. For all my books, the Karimji G1G and Company Limited has been the generous sponsor. We commend you for the immense contribution to the donation. My Turkish friends, who will be for a good time, is the big apples. My Turkish friends, Ahmad Kamal, and the famous actor of
Abdurrahman Ghazi.
Yes. I've traveled all the way from Istanbul to attend this launching ceremony. I understand they have carried in the luggage and Ottoman artwork, which is directly related to the cover. In fact, Mr. Ahmad Kamal and his wife are hosting a photo exhibition of 4 documents about Mauritius-Turkey connection, which they retrieved from the Turkish archives. The exhibition will be at Kuda Art Center from 18 to 23rd May, and tomorrow, after 8 p.m., our famous actor, Mr. Ghazi, will receive the Mauritian public at Felix Sir Abdulrazak Hall. I thank Megan Thomas and her team for all the organization works behind the scenes. And last but not the least, my wife for being the moral support all the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Assad Bagla. Now I call upon Nasreen Banwasik. Come to the lecture. Nasreen, as you have probably seen, has been designing and painting all the book covers of our friend Assad Bagla since the beginning. She's a teacher, older teacher, but an artist and a painter who has carried out many exhibitions, 9 exhibitions so far. Ninth cover. I particularly like the cover of the Bandari, which smells biryani. Anyway. And even the Prime Minister's bought a painting that has been offered to an eminent personality visiting Mauritius. Suffice to say that I envy the pupils that she's teaching, in fact. She's the only woman in Mauritius going on hikes on Sundays with high heels and makeup, without being perturbed by the bad weather. A big applause for Nasreen.
His Excellency, Mr. Ediwa Sezo, Vice President of the Republic of Mauritius, His Excellency Mr. Kassamuddin, former President of the Republic of Mauritius, His Excellency Mr. Raouf Benden, former Vice President of the Republic of Mauritius, Your Excellencies, distinguished representatives of the diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is a great honor for me to participate in the second launching ceremony of the book Muslim Presence in Rodrigues, here in Mauritius, after the first one which took place last month in Rodrigues. And it is my immense pleasure for being given the opportunity to address this august gathering in my capacity as the artist for designing the cover of this book. It is the 9th book cover that I have painted for Mr. Assad Bagla over the years. Rodrigues is clearly an island of inspiration for artists. But when Mr. Assad Bagla asked me to design the cover of his book, Muslim Presence in Rodrigues, I have to admit that I had little idea of what to paint and where to begin. The difficulty for me was that I could not find any well-documented literature about the Muslims in Rodrigues. Until then, all I knew was that there is a small Muslim community in Rodrigues, and the main tangible symbol of Muslim presence has been the old mosque at Rue Solidarité. With some clues I got from Mr. Assad Bagla, I did some research and I decided that my painting should include images that are authentic to Rodrigues and enhance the value of cultural heritage of the island. The final product of my painting is in front of you. In the first instance, I have made it a point that the blue sea of Port-Maturin dominates the landscape of my painting. As we all know, the destiny of Rodrigues is closely attached to the sea. Far on the horizon, you will see a ship. It is none other than the MS Trocatia, which symbolizes the connectivity of Rodrigues with the outside world. I have replicated the position of the ship from a real picture captured by the author himself while he was standing on the footbridge annexed to the bazaar of Port-Maturin. On the right-hand side of the painting, you will see some green vegetation which represents the green beauty of Rodrigues. In the forefront, you will find the facade of a historic monument, the Nuruddin Masjid, built in 1892. It is a magnificent symbol of Muslim presence in Rodrigues, and I have embellished its wall with bright pink flowers which characterize the tropical flora of Rodrigues. On the right-hand corner at the bottom of the painting, you will find a replica of the historic monument at the main entrance of La Résidence. This cannon conveys the bold spirit of defense for the integrity of Rodrigues. As an artist, I have been especially attracted by the calligraphic art engraved on the hard metal of the cannon. It is the majestic signature of Sultan Abdul Hamid II. At the center of the painting, I have reproduced this artistic signature, and I think it is a great cultural asset for Rodrigues. It has been an honor for me to paint the cover of the book Muslim Presence in Rodrigues, and I hope that my painting will bring its humble contribution in promoting the multicultural image of Rodrigues Island. I thank you all for your attention.
To the list of VIPs, I should add the two Turkish friends that are here today. And I will call them all here. Will you please? I don't have your name. I think I should have your name. Kemal. They will present the token to Mrs. Naskin Banu Asik, artist. Related to the painting of Maurice Info. One is for you, Ray. You have noticed that the same artistic design on the book cover, on the token gift here. Thank you very much.
My elders, my brothers and sisters, and I know almost everybody here. And thank you very much, you are receiving us here. And I'm very sorry because I couldn't change my dress, and my friends also just were coming from airport. Apologize and forgive us. I would like to give some small information about this Tura. We say Tura, signature of Ottoman Sultan. Actually, first signature was Sultan Muhammad Fatih, who was the conqueror of Istanbul. He has started this tradition. Then, generation to generation, until the last Ottoman Sultan, they have used their own design, but almost similar. This is special. This is special signature of Sultan Abdul Hamid II. He was 33 years was ruling of the Ottoman Empire at that time. I know the story. And last year, I think, when Asad Bagla went to Rodrigues, he took one picture and he sent it to me. He said, "What is this Ahmed Kemal?" I said, "This is the signature of Ottoman Sultan. It's a Sultan Abdul Hamid II. Where did you get this signature?" He said, "From Rodrigues." "Are you sure from Rodrigues? Because there is no any border, Turkey, 10,000 kilometers far from there." Then he said, "Yes." Then he took that picture as a proof, and it was amazing for me. Just before we come here, we decided to make this one. And this is Ottoman, material Sultan was using in their dress. And this is golden and silver embroidery, I think. Thank you very much again. Okay,
Thank you very much. Now we proceed. It's the call upon Mr. Kassam Wani Mahmoud. That's what is written. Narration of childhood memories about artisanal manufacture of candles in Rodrigues during the World War II.
Je me présente moi, Pierre Rodrigues, Pierre Musulman dans Rodrigues, 87 ans. Je viens de donner un petit aperçu qui m'a gagné l'occasion parce que puis la Deuxième Guerre mondiale, j'ai rencontré 1945. À cette époque-là, mon petit peu vivre là-bas, pendant la guerre, tout le côté qui est dans ma vie. Un bateau passé à Guinée, tout un bateau Cordoue, pas mini passé à Guinée, parce que c'était la guerre mondiale, ça. Alors, on s'en dit, pas mini, pénurie dans le pays, et nous nous sommes en Rodrigues, qui bien retiré, qui était là assez loin, mais quand même, nous sommes capables de dire, et par le là, Rodrigues, puis au César, on en sait la guerre. Qui tout Rodrigues, longtemps, tient un petit, la terre, la terre, tu vois, la terre, l'état, ça. Mais un petit planté, tu plantes maïs à l'époque. Sans maïs, là, quand tu plantais, je plantais décembre, dans 3 mois, en mars, récolté. Alors, quand tu as récolté, tout le monde, ça finit de où nous avons manger l'année. Nous finissons de raconter une banane. Je veux dire, même pendant la guerre, bateau pas venu, nous finissons de maïs. Mais poisson, ça tient à l'abondance à l'époque-là. Alors, Rodrigues, tu manges, tu ne consommes maïs et puis un poisson tous les jours. Ça, tous les jours. Mais tu n'as pas un problème de ça côté manger. Volaille, tu remplis un peu dans le pays. Et puis, cabri aussi, ça aussi, c'est la bouffe. Ça fait mon rappel. Et un cabri, ça au là, comme ça, tu vas un rompis dans la dépense. Mon papa, tu as passé un cabri. Alors, il était tout cassé, il y a au village, il y a ces 70 sous. Il Presley, et puis il porte à lui, ça l'époque même quand il a l'électricité dans Rodrigues, et dans le frigidaire. Alors, il prend un quartier pour le Mapuchi, un quartier pour le Mahmoud, un quartier pour le Rabat et un quartier pour nous. Alors, nous avons consommé la même peine en quartier, pas comme un quartier, mais dans le frigidaire, ce qui veut dire électricité pas tiède. Mais dans ce temps-là, nous avons un gros problème. Tout le monde service dans le pétrole et la bougie. Mais la bougie pas venue depuis l'extérieur, bateau pas venu. La bougie, stock pas trop beaucoup dans Rodrigues. Alors ça fait comment finir. Crise pour lever la coupe, faire bien noir partout. Et là, le pétrole aussi rationné. Alors, on rappelle ça à l'époque-là, quand nous enfants, on dit qu'à l'acheter, on met un petit shopping, assez 10 sous pétrole, 10 sous à la ration. 10 sous là, peut-être dans la lampe. Mais vous gagnez, si vous allez bien la lampe, vous avez des heures de temps, il vous finit. Alors, si tu viens faire, la lampe là, vous avez 10 sous en cas de malade, vous verrez bien service. Alors, tout le monde là-bas, tu design, fini dîner 5 heures, tantôt. Après, quand les enfants sont fait mort, allez, on va faire l'olivier parce que tu dois le là en bas. Alors, on vient dans la cage, fermé, pris sur ma place, jouer jusqu'à ce qu'il sommeil, pas dans la lampe, pas dans rien encore. Mais ça, à l'époque-là, c'était tellement difficile. Mais c'est moi tout quelque chose à pleine dans la pleine crise, toujours, quand tout le monde trouve solution. Mais à l'époque, tout le monde connaît ça, c'est dans la bande, ça c'est un baleine. Quand je te mets à ça, ce baleine, de l'autre côté, je tire tout ça, je gagne sur la graisse, je fondis, je bloque la graisse. Mais quand ça, je ne peux faire ça, parce qu'on écoute de l'export, ça qui délire dans le bande. Mais pendant la guerre, le bateau qui est dans une chaîne naufrage, là, ça bloque là, il flottait dans l'océan, il y a vraiment iceberg comme ça. Tout est flotté. Devant le PCR, dans Rodrigues, le bloc fini comme ça, on ramasse. Alors, quand on est ramassé, on a ça de côté, on n'est pas connu qui nous fait ça. Allez, un jour comme ça, un petit bonhomme lui dit, il prend un bloc comme ça, il fait masser, il fait un commerçant, il dit, on est sur le poisson. Allez, il dit, mon papa. Il dit, c'est ça, Michel. Alors, il dit, vous faites ça. C'est ça, sur la graisse, la baleine. Mais mon papa, quand il y a un petit accéléré, il m'a dit, on va dire, l'argent, tout là. Il y a les mecs qui là-bas dans la roue, on a mis des roupies. Mais ça, l'époque là aussi, des roupies, c'est assez gros parce qu'il y a la police, il y a 50 roupies, ça l'époque là. Alors, ils mettent ça là, la graisse là-bas. Les nouvelles Rodrigues, il y a le bien vite. Man dit, on va se vous dire, vous avez Rodrigues, je trouvais moi ce petit téléphone. Ça a posé. Alors, je vais ça avec lui ici. Il a posé par lui, il dit, il ici, un bloc là, en 2 heures matin, 20 secondes, il a saqué des questions. Tout est serré, c'est lui, dans les choses. On va trouver tout ça là. Mais tu peux me dire, nous amener ta diawaski. On va voir sur l'aide. Tu avais quand même un petit peu d'espace de téléphone, de ta télévision, c'est tout. Il dit, mais si ça, ça c'est elle, la baleine, vous gagnez ça, la graisse là. Et la graisse, il arrive complètement, mais il vient une utilité. Et si tu amènes tout ça, tu vas l'amener ça là, tu peux aller vite, tu vas aller pour la coupe. Donc, d'abord, on vient la coupe avec la bloque la graisse comme ça. Alors, ça est resté, mais c'est arrivé, la route peut manquer, la lampe est non. Mon papa m'a dit, on l'aide, ça veut faire l'esprit travail. Il dit, ça va pas faire quelque chose avec ça. Il sait prendre un morceau, ça la graisse là, il fondit, après il met plein de tuyaux. Après il dit, il y a un temps, il ferait, il tire, il doit être la musique. Mais la musique, non, la messe seulement. Mais quand il goûte la musique là, il fait l'esprit travail, comment vous faire? Alors mon papa, il fait là, tu n'as pas de cigarette à l'époque. Tu dis comment mon père m'a dit pas de 555 comme il est alors il coupe ça avec un cisaille ou il fait un petit tube avec fer blanc. Il fait un tube, donc il y a de la musique. Il prend le bousson, il met de côté. Il perce ce bousson-là, il gagne dans la toile, dans le commerçant, cette semaine, la toile, là, il nous a là, alors la toile, là, il dit en bloc de papier, et quand il sème la côte coton, il défile ça. Il prend ça la côte coton, là, il passe à sa bousson, là, il fait 5 jours, il ne prend pas. Et puis il fait ça, la côte, là, monte dans la tube, là. Il prend une caisse, il met la terre là-dedans. Ils font tout ça, un tube là, il fait plusieurs tubes là, pour qu'il y ait comme ça, ils mettent là-dedans. Tous les bouts alignés comme ça. Mais pour faire ça, la messe là, sans entrer là-dedans, il fait, il prend une ferraille, il met l'eau là. L'eau en caisse. Il y a tassi là. Quand il y a tassi là-haut, en bas, il y a un bousson, il y a une dé, ça, la messe là, il y a là-dedans. Il y fait un petit. On va quand même fabriquer des petits fabriques tout petit. Il fait un petit casserole avec un bec, il prend ça. La graisse là, il met dans tout ça dans le tube. Avec un terrain. Après une demi-heure, nous enfants, on fait des petits de fer, il y a une casse ça. Il tire 25 la musique avec sur la messe là. À ce là qu'il fait, il est intelligent. Sa papier qui tient encore la toile là. Il vient en bloc, qui est la toile là. Il compris bien, il prend pareil, comment la musique, tu lui mets à 6 la musique dans le paquet, aussi met 6 pareil, il enveloppe pareil, il fournit tout ça à la boutique là, en gros, pour le vendre détail. Ça veut dire, en plein la guerre, bateau va venir, pas dans la musique, pas dans la lampe, pas dans le pétrole, mais c'est pas la musique, et sa quantité de la graisse qui va rester là, tout suffit jusqu'à la guerre, c'est correct. Tout le monde continue à servir la musique pendant tout ça, le temps là. Et ça, assez dans l'église qui servait beaucoup là aussi, nous avons 4 églises, 3 catholiques, mon père est anglican. Il y a beaucoup la boutique dans laquelle fait l'économie. Alors, tu m'entends dire qu'avec la boutique de dynastie, mon papa, tu fais divers, on dit que après, il y a un paquet la boutique pour chaque semaine. Ça, ça peut l'église. Il donne un paquet cadeau pour une semaine, après, c'est le la semaine. Mais nous pouvons trouver là-dedans, si on dit ça, on peut dire une chose 80 années avant. Dans Rodrigues, quand il y a un monde intelligent, peut-être ça, les problèmes, il n'y a pas dans les humains intelligents longtemps. Mais c'est dans ça, les temps-là, il y a même l'industrie fabrique la musique. Dans ça, petite ville-là, manger, quand tu manges, manger ça, tu sais, non? Mais ma difficulté là, ça ne se passe pas facile, mais c'est moi qui ai la vie à nous. Si dans les temps-là, tu fais fabriquer la musique, il faut y aller dans Rodrigues. Alors, disons, après 80 années, nous avons tout cas des technologies, nous avons tout cas des collèges, grand diplômés, c'est pas été, mais jusqu'à aujourd'hui, nous limons dans Rodrigues. Nous sommes capables de dire que c'est là actuellement là, par tonne de pourri. On dit tonne par tonne. C'est que Maurice ici là, dans le bazar, il y a un papier comme ça qui est pourri par tonne. Dans l'année, il n'y a pas de tonne de limon qui allait. Personne ne retrouve ça, et toute l'intelligence qui est maintenant. Comment vous faire pour sauver cette petite chose-là? Il y a beaucoup d'argent, ça. Mais personne ne trouve ça, ni personne ne dit encore comme ça, ni qui arrive même comme ça, il fait pourri. Ça fait qu'on met jamais toujours longtemps, quand même, il y a un petit bête, mais quand même, tu vas faire des choses. Alors, on remercie beaucoup pour votre attention. Merci.
Mr. Casamite. Casamite, it's your turn now.
Right from the start, ladies and gentlemen, which I won't be able to respect the time attributed to me, especially that we are talking of Rodrigues, formerly our dependency, and people have come from Rodrigues especially, and even from Turkey, to come and attend the launching ceremony. So I'm afraid I have to run through my speech. I have to be not able to respect the time allotted to me. Your Excellency, the Honourable Vice Prime Minister, Honourable Minister of Social Security, Vice President of the former Vice President of the Republic, Honourable Members of the Diplomatic Corps, Mr. Salis, and dear friends. It is with immense pleasure that I am associating myself with the launch of yet another book authored by my good friend Asad Bahra. From a prolific writer, Asad has turned into a compulsive one, in the positive sense, and much to our delight, writing abundantly in the press on any imaginable topic, and producing within the last 7 years no less than 10 books, including 5 biographies of Muslim personalities who have been, for one reason or another, allowed to fall into oblivion. One of them was Idris Abdulrahman, the Kandelaskar Mosque, the Kandelaskar born, and Scotland-trained first Muslim doctor who volunteered to isolate himself with the smallpox-infected patients in the quarantine center in Puerto Calumier, when all other doctors had refused. He caught the highly infectious disease while treating the patients and passed away in 1889 at the early age of 30. He was buried on the premises of the quarantine center where today stands the Club Med Resort. He died so that others might live. The second biography is that of Gassi Sogdor, the first imam of the Kandilaskar Mosque, the mother of all mosques in Mauritius, known today as Al-Aqsa, and this was the end of the French colonization era. In 1805, as the first non-Christian place of worship in the Mascarenes. Gassi Sogdor was considered as the leader of the nascent Muslim community of Mauritius. The other biography that Assad wrote was that of Dr. Hassan Jijumai, the first Muslim and Indo-Mauritian to win the English scholarship in 1922, laureate in 1922. He was the founder in 1949 of the first boarding school in Kyoto, which later became the Islamic Cultural College, providing secular education and training to this state to thousands of Mauritian students. The fourth biography is that of Maulana Abdullah Rashid Nawab, a Saudi Arabian-born Islamic erudite who adopted Mauritius as his second homeland, where he spent the best part of his life until his death in 1951, teaching Muslim children and adolescents, and sometimes adults, Islamic doctrine and way of life, while promoting the Urdu and Arabic languages. He founded the Muslim high school, which is still being run to this day as a madrasa, where as a child I learned the rudiments of my religion. There are no doubt other biographies of unsung or forgotten heroes that are waiting out there to be written. I wish you and your wonderful team that includes the talented artists that we have just heard, an accredited cover designer, Mrs. Nasreen Baran Assi, all the very, very best in all your future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, Assad's latest book, about to be launched in Mauritius, after its initial launch in Rodrigues last month, Muslim Presence in Rodrigues, could be considered as the saga of a few enterprising individuals of Islamic faith first settled in 1870s in a small island from nowhere, doing business not with the objective of striking it rich, but to earn an honest living, mainly as traders, while helping in the development of the island and making it flourish as a heaven of peace. In the process, they earned the affection and respect of those who had preceded them on the island. They were overwhelmingly of African descent, with a minority of mixed-race people, descendants of the first European colonizers, welcoming them with arms wide open as their fellow countrymen. Despite their insignificant number and the adverse living conditions, with no roads, no harbour, no electricity, and no basic amenities and infrastructure, those foolhardy Muslims were nonetheless to play a pioneering role in the development of the island. They were the first to introduce electricity. And La Bougie, we have now heard that they were also the first to introduce La Bougie from La Varenne, La Belle-Savarenne. The first to introduce electricity, to build the road networks, and to launch public transport on the island. Endowed with a strong business acumen, some of them, notably the Fatimahmud family, but also the Valimahot family, initiated exchanges between Rodrigues and Mauritius, and at one time almost monopolized the business of importing, distributing, and brokering of foodstuffs and other basic necessities. The Fatimawad family, also known for its generosity towards the poor montagnards, descendants of African slaves, became so economically powerful that its patriarch in the early days was hailed by many as the governor of Rodrigues. Even today, the Muslim community of Rodrigues constitutes an infinite minority out of an estimated population of 43,500 inhabitants of mainly Christian faith. And yet, as if to give a lesson in democracy to their Mauritian big brother, a member of that community, Ismail Valimahot, elected under the banner of the Organisation du Peuple de Rodrigues, Organisation du Peuple de Rodrigues, was chosen as Commissioner for Health and Sports by the then Chief Commissioner Serge Creer in February 2012 and served in that capacity until his untimely death at the age of 66 on 7th of September 2016 while he was undergoing medical treatment in Mauritius. He is buried in the Muslim cemetery of Ishtar. He was known to be an affable man of high integrity, and on his death, in a remarkable expression of gratitude, a national 3-day mourning period was declared throughout Rodrigues. This was interpreted as a gesture of appreciation of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly towards the Muslim community as a fully integrated component of the Rodrigues society, constantly and unfailingly contributing to its development and progress. And last year, on the 21st anniversary of Rodrigues, Autonomy Day, the 12th of October 2023, Ismail Valimahot's elder brother, Valimahot, here present, was awarded the Médaille de la Reconnaissance Rodrigues for his tremendous services to Rodrigues, particularly through his venture in the production of lemonade on the island. Next time, I'm sure he will talk to us more about how to introduce lemonade in Rodrigues. I visited Rodrigues for the first time in the mid-1980s, when as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, I led our delegation on a routine mission which consisted in scrutinizing the value for money of public spending of the Rodrigues administration and holding the civil servants to account for the delivery of public services on the island. It enabled me, in the little spare time available, to discover the beautiful, unspoiled nature of the island, its vast lagoon dedicated to water sports and fishing, the Ilo Coco Bird Sanctuary Island, home to flocks of rare birds, the impressive St. Gabriel Church, held to be the biggest and oldest in the Indian Ocean, the pickers do it, fishing for octopus in the very early morning, the delicious Rodriguan cuisine, especially the polo polo shellfish salad that I relished, but above all, an incredibly benign and hospitable local population, casually calm and cool, constantly wearing a smile and their distinctive straw hats, enjoying their unique, simple lifestyle and joie de vivre, often expressed through their folk dance music, beautifully described as Sega Tambour. One cannot but fall in love with this heavenly resort that I kept visiting at least once every year during my 2 successive terms in office as president in the 1990s and early 20s. Port-Mathurin, the capital city, described as the sleepy heart of Rodrigues, wakes up in the early morning with everything moving at a leisurely pace, except on certain days, especially in the port area, where ships from Mauritius visit the harbour with a supply of fresh foodstuffs and other freight. It is then seen bustling with life well before sunrise. The melodious voice of the muezzin, calling people to prayer, which would then be heard, reveals the presence of a mosque in the vicinity. Actually, in the very heart of the city, a few blocks away from the residence where sits the Executive Council of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly, formerly the house of the Resident Commissioner, stands rather discreetly, surrounded by a variety of Muslim-owned retail shops, retail stores, the Nuruddin Masjid, the oldest and until a few years ago, the only mosque in Rodrigues, built in 1892 and renovated in 1979. The mosque is a haven of peace and tranquility, right in the middle of the commercial center of Partager. Whether on official or private visits, I always received the warmest of welcome and respect from Rodrigues of all walks of life. But among the numerous happy memories of hospitality and courtesy extended to me during my several stays in Rodrigues, there stands out one which until today lingers on, and I wish to share it with you. It was during the fasting month of Ramadan, and if my memory serves me right, I was at the Nuruddin Mosque for the midday prayer. It was either Zohar or Dhuhr. When I was approached by a Mauritian settled in Rodrigues and married to the Fatima family, whom I knew by sight only, after the usual introduction, he spontaneously offered to drop off my sehri, my suhoor, the pre-dawn meal that Muslims have for Ramadan at 4 o'clock in the morning at the Cotton Bay Hotel where I was staying. I was taken aback and politely refused, and kept refusing, but he insisted. I would not take no for an answer. He would not listen to me for anything, since according to him, the food served at the hotel, especially at this time of the night, would not be palatable. It might not even be halal. I think he added, probably to add weight to his argument. He considered it, therefore, his duty to provide me with a decent meal in the middle of the night. I finally had to give in. And so, for the 3 days I stayed in Rodrigues, Raja Ghulam Nabi, accompanied by his wife, Momin Fatima, the daughter of probably the richest man in Rodrigues, would every morning, after some 20 to 30 minute drive by car from Partager, just before dawn, and at the precise time, knock on the door of the bungalow in Cotton Bay and hand over a specially prepared hot meal for my sehri, that I accepted as a precious offering with all my gratitude and thanks. Incidentally, following his father's footsteps, the renowned Bandari, Raja Ghulam Nabi too, was renowned as a good chef. But more than the tasty food they freely provided me with, what was more heartwarming and touching was the gesture and the selfless action of the Rodrigues couple, who, waking up in the middle of the night to prepare hot and delicious food, would leave the comfort of their home after their sehri, drive all the way to the hotel, several kilometers away, to feed for 3 consecutive days a perfect stranger passing through this country. This is Rodrigues hospitality at its best. Ladies and gentlemen, after his most recent book on the Coptic diaspora in Mauritius, published only 3 months back, author Asad Bagla has chosen, with his Muslim in Rodrigues, to focus the spotlight on yet another minority community's history, highlighting each member's contribution to the development of an island where they immigrated more than a century ago to take up residence. Asad Bagla's groundbreaking research deserves, along with our deep appreciation, our highest commendation and most fitting recognition. I thank you once again.
He sort of got carried away and he took my papers with his speech. Thank you, Kassam. We'll now call upon the Vice President of the Republic in the hope that he will respect the time.
Maurice, thank you for your anecdotes about candles and so on. Mr. Ludovic Larges, Director of the Sipor Hotel. Ambassador Jean Souverain, Mr. Philippe Sales and Madame, Madame Megan Thomas, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very honored to be given the opportunity to associate myself to the launching of the new book of Mr. Asad Bagla entitled Muslim Presence in Rodrigues. I understand, and I've heard it, that it is his 11th book, and I congratulate him for its lead. Over the past few years, I have noticed that the author has been very intensively involved in writing and sharing his ideas to the society. Sharing is indeed a great virtue, and it contributes to the spirit of living together. This is a fundamental element and a cementing factor in consolidating our multicultural nation. I commend Asad Bagla for having zoomed on Rodrigues, giving the island the visibility that it deserves. Rodrigues is a mystic island with its kaleidoscopic landscape and charming people. It is a haven of peace and tranquility. I am glad that the author has tried to project the multicultural dimension Muslim family who played pioneer role in Rodrigues. One of the representatives of the family, Bani Mahmoud family, the Fatih Mahmoud, the Qadirs, the Makuchi, the Libadas, among others. The Fatih Mahmoud family has a big end in the electrification of Partager and introduction of buses in Rodrigues, as been said before. Ajibai Fatih Mahmoud was a money lender to the regional administration of Rodrigues whenever the latter was in short of liquidity. He was the one who first bought a short-term flight to Rodrigues in 1972, well before the operation of Partager Airport. As a tribute to many services rendered to Rodrigues, the regional authority has named one of its main streets Partager. The book of Hassan Berla is a great gift to the Rodrigues family. They are welcoming with a sense of pride and honor. The book is helping to give an international exposure to Rodrigues, which relies heavily on tourism. I have been told that 2 weeks ago, the Friends of Mauritius in Pakistan gathered in Islamabad to celebrate this book, and that the book cover attracted the keen interest of the diplomats from Turkey and Azerbaijan because of the Turkish symbol appearing on it. I seize this opportunity to congratulate Ms. Asmin Banu Afsar for having painted such a beautiful illustration for the cover. I know her as a talented artist with lots of creative ideas. This is the reason why Mr. Bakla has entrusted upon her the design of the cover of all his books. Ladies and gentlemen, I've learned the offer as Alberta for many years, but in another capacity. For more than 3 decades, he served Mauritius as a capital trade expert and a brilliant trade negotiator. When I was in the Government House as Member of Parliament, I used to seek his advice on important files such as ACP-EU, Cotton Convention, and the AGWA and the World Trade Organization. I'm glad to see him as the same dynamic person, still very active at social and literary level. He is giving the best of himself and the most of his precious time to Mauritius. The publication of a book is a painstaking job and a very costly project. Unfortunately, book readership is diminishing rapidly. Not many people write books. We need to support the efforts of the authors. I'm glad to learn that the proceeds of the sale of this book will go to a charitable society in Rodrigues. It is indeed a great initiative, and I think that we can join hands on the government. As Alberta works will be an investment to Mauritian literature. Thank you, Azad, for those untold anecdotes and undisclosed information about the Rodrigues. I have a long speech, but I will cut short by saying I once again congratulate Azad Berkla for his book on Muslim Presence in Rodrigues, which I have now the pleasure
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Now there are some coincidences that can be easily explained. In his speech, Kasabuti rightly stressing the fact that the brother, Mr. Vali stood for candidate of the Open Air Organisation du Peuple Rodrigues some time back. And you know what's the political symbol of the OPA? It's a candle. That was, he prepared the way for the father prepared the way for the son to be elected, and that is symbol, I suppose. Thank you very much. Now we are going to have some group photos of all the dignitaries at a table. We just go in front of the table, all of you, in front of the table for the pic. And that a book will be rented to each of you. Okay, we'll go slow.
I have the honor and privilege to launch the book Muslim Presence in Rodrigues, written by Mr. Partager.
Thank you for the official part of the ceremony.